One morning, Hito wakes up to find a maid at his door, asking for employment. Confused, he starts questioning her about the kind of work she does. She casually responds that her primary duty has been assassinating people who wronged her master. That's enough for Hito to decide he wants her out of his house. He just needs to figure out how to do it without upsetting her. Nervously, he asks which assassination method she specializes in, and she eagerly demonstrates her knife skills, proudly claiming it's her forte. After witnessing her display, Hito finally musters the courage to tell her he can't hire her. She takes the news well and leaves, but accidentally forgets her pendant. Feeling compelled to return it, Hito chases after her. That's when he almost gets hit by Truck-kun and narrowly avoids being isekai'd thanks to her quick intervention. Grateful and feeling indebted, Hito decides to hire her. However, he's in for a surprise. She's hopelessly clumsy when it comes to housework. In the end, they clean together so she can learn how to do it properly. Later, she reveals she doesn't have a name. Her previous employers simply called her whatever they liked. When it's time to eat, she admits she's always viewed food as nothing more than sustenance and has never been able to tell if something tastes good or bad. That is, until she tries tonkatsu sauce and becomes completely obsessed. So much so that she wakes up in the middle of the night just to drink the sauce straight from the bottle. A while later, a dog is left at Hito's doorstep and he decides to adopt it. However, the maid is not pleased with this decision because she has a deep-seated fear of dogs. She reveals that, as a child, her teacher trained her by leaving her alone in the mountains surrounded by fierce wild dogs, which traumatized her. To comfort her, Hito shares that he was scared of her when they first met. However, as he got to know her better, he realized she's a kind person at heart. Encouraged by his words, she makes an effort to bond with the dog, determined to move away from her past as an assassin and work toward becoming a normal girl. Taking another step toward this goal, she asks Hito to give her a name, as he has only been referring to her as Maid until now. After learning that she was born during a freezing winter, Hito decides to call her Yuki, which is Japanese for snow. He adds that he loves snow because it's beautiful. Yuki is deeply moved by her new name. She reflects on how different this peaceful life feels compared to the world of killing she left behind. Sometime later, Hito's younger sister, Riko, comes to visit and is shocked when she meets Yuki. Yes, they live in different places, but we don't know why yet. Now, for some reason, Yuki decides to tell Riko about her past as an assassin, and Riko thinks that's incredibly cool. In fact, she's so impressed that she asks Yuki for a demonstration. And the demonstration this time is throwing a knife at an apple balanced on Riko's head. What? Why the fuck did Hito allow that? Later that night, they all go to a festival. It's Yuki's first time attending a festival without it being part of an assassination mission, and she has a great time. On the way back, Riko talks to Yuki about school, explaining how it's a place where she can meet friends and chat. Seeking to be normal, Yuki decides to enroll in Hito's school. To blend in, she pretends to be his cousin and takes his last name. Although she's a little older than him, Yuki chooses to join his grade so she can serve him better. Back at home, we learn that Riko has always wanted an older sister. So much so that, at one point, she even tried to convince herself that Hito was her big sister instead. Now, she's determined to make Yuki her sister by marrying her off to Hito. After all, she's sure that Yuki is in love with him. However, when Riko directly asks Yuki if she likes her brother, Yuki innocently responds that she admires him deeply, unaware of the nuances of romance. Despite this, Riko casually brings up the idea of marriage, but as I said, Yuki is completely unfamiliar with such concepts. At school, Yuki attempts to protect Hito from a piece of flying chalk, but her efforts backfire and he ends up getting hit even worse, forcing him to go to the infirmary. There, the hot school nurse begins flirting with him, declaring that he's her type. She then locks the door and promises to give him the best first time ever. But before things escalate further, Yuki bursts through the door, pulls Hito close, and warns the nurse to stay away from him. Afterward, Yuki reveals to Hito that the nurse is in the same line of work as her. She's an assassin. It turns out the nurse has been spying on Yuki. Her name is Grace, and her dream is to assemble a harem of hot guys and spend the rest of her life on a luxurious island with them. To fund this fantasy, she plans to take Yuki's head and cash in for a hefty reward. Meanwhile, Yuki is sleeping with Hito to protect him from Grace. She's confident she could defeat Grace with one hand tied behind her back, even if she were attacked in her sleep. What Yuki doesn't anticipate, however, is how much her tranquil life has dulled her skills. Grace takes advantage of this by leaving a small distraction, some sauce, on their door. That brief moment is all she needs to take Hito hostage. When Grace moves Hito to a different place, she reveals that Yuki is the fourth member of the Dragon's Nine, the most powerful clan of assassins in the world, and the youngest person ever to join their ranks. At the appointed time, Yuki arrives to rescue Hito. Grace then activates the traps she had prepared, but Yuki emerges unscathed. However, the traps don't end there. Grace has also stationed snipers with their sights set on Hito's limbs. She warns Yuki that if she resists any further, they'll open fire. Undeterred, Yuki charges forward. True to her word, Grace gives the order to fire, but Yuki deflects all 4 bullets with her knives. She then takes Grace down in combat and declares that she will no longer kill anyone, nor let anyone die because of her. From now on, she's determined to protect the normal life she has obtained with all her strength. After freeing Hito, the two head home together. Along the way, Hito asks Yuki to teach him some self-defense, explaining that he wants to be able to help her, even just a little. Next, we learn that Yuki and Grace have agreed to a truce. They've made peace. However, Grace hasn't stopped flirting with Hito and has gone back to her original blonde appearance. It turns out she's a master of disguise. She's now testing Yuki's feelings by getting overly close to Hito, trying to see if it will make Yuki jealous. And it does. Yuki confesses to Hito that when she sees him interacting with others from the underworld, she feels a sense of alienation. Hito realizes this is her first experience with jealousy and reassures her that it's a normal emotion, which makes her happy. A while later, Hito has a nightmare, which is more of a painful memory from the time his parents separated. In the dream, his father took custody of him while his mother left with his sister. He wakes up in tears, and Yuki comforts him. They share a heartfelt moment as Hito tells her about the dream, one where a heroine stepped in to take his mother's place and welcome him. One day, while Yuki's out shopping for groceries, a little girl stops her and asks where she got her maid outfit, pointing out that it's not something ordinary people would wear. The comment strikes a nerve, so Yuki asks Hito to help her buy some casual clothes. Riko and Grace tag along for the outing. Yuki tries on a variety of outfits, while Riko enthusiastically snaps pictures of her in each one. She tries on a bold outfit, a cute outfit, a swimsuit, and even a cozy sweater. In the end, they decide to buy everything she tried on. They also pick out Halloween costumes. Yuki dresses as a witch while Grace opts for a policewoman for some reason. However, the entire shopping trip ends up being for nothing. Yuki ultimately changes back into her maid outfit, explaining that it was a cherished gift from her former master and the only thing that connects her to him now that he's gone. She also reveals that the small bell she wears on her head is a memento from her sister, who is far away. Hito is taken aback by this revelation. He had no idea that Yuki had a sister.